Welcome everybody to the next stage in our CO2 dragster tutorial. My name is Mr. Galindo. We're going to start putting our profile onto our design here. Now, if this was me and I'd gone through with my class and my students, I would have a selection of drawings in front of me, from small thumbnail sketches that are just a kind of indicator of what I want to create to larger scale sketches. The scale sketches are the ones I want to get out now, and I'm going to be having them placed in front of me on the table. Looking at the scale sketch, I've got my blank either with the long edge on the right hand side or the long edge on the left hand side. And this is my side view, right, that we've all done in scale sketch mode. Now, to see this, we're going to select using the nav cube up the top right here, the right side, and then rotate it down. So if, whoops, I didn't mean to click the corner, or that corner. If I have got my scale drawing and the orientation is the one I need for the long edge on the right hand side, this is the one I'm going to use. If, however, I needed the other side, I'm going to use the arrows on the nav cube to zoom it around, and now it's in this orientation. It's all up to you. Now, I'm going to start a sketch here, and we're going to cut away or exclude anything that's not inside my profile for my dragster. Now, to start with, you need to do a couple of things. First of all, we're going to insert a 2-point rectangle on the back edge here, okay, which we're going to designate our CO2 chamber. For example, it's going to be 20 millimeters in diameter, and it's going to be 55 millimeters deep. Now, I'm going to simply select the bottom point here, the dot, and this point here, and specify how far away it is. I'd suggest around about somewhere between 20 to 30 millimeters is okay. My preference is to have it nice and low. I'm then going to select the offset button and click on the profile that I created and increase that by I'd say about 3 millimeters. Okay. Now this is the excluded area you're not allowed to draw into. If you remember, it's the area that the CO2 chamber needs to have around itself, so that when you puncture a CO2 chamber, it doesn't just fly out the front of your car. Now I'm going to select all this geometry like so, and simply select construction line up the top here, because I need this to be visible, but I don't want it to be actually part of my sketch. I'm now going to use a combination of the line tools, which allows me to create straight lines, or holding down on the end, an arc, as you can see, create some arcs. Or I might use the spline tool, which is a much more organic way of creating some curves and lines. You can see how you create really curved geometry based on some points to actually sketch out the profile of my vehicle. So I'm going to use the line tool myself, and I'm going to click Ctrl Z a couple of times just to get rid of all those bits of geometry. Okay, starting from the back edge here, like normal, I'm going to go from about here, and I'm going to select about just in line with my edge of my white dots here, and it actually locks on, as you can see, with the black line now. Clicking and holding, I'm going to pull down a rough point to about the mid area, and then hold and pull down again and change that so it's kind of about this orientation here. Going to now draw out a straight line and then do a full round like so, clicking and holding to do that, drawing it all the way back to about here, and then bringing it a curve up to that back edge there. And I just need to connect these two dots at the end there to make sure I've got a solid profile. And you can see now I've got this profile of my vehicle. One thing I need to make sure I do is I need to put in the points for my axle holes, and I'm going to do that like so. I just want to make sure that they are in roughly the right spot and that I've measured them out. For example, using the dimension tool, we know that the rear axle hole is meant to be somewhere between 35 and 45 millimeters from the rear. I'm going to go for 45. And the front axle hole is anywhere between 105 and I think 200 millimeters, or between the two. So I'm going to make it about 150. Right? Now I've just noticed that I could probably drag this slightly lower, this line here, so that my profile is slightly more streamlined, and I'm going to do so. I'm now going to create a line between those two axle holes because I need to make sure that they are horizontal, because currently they're not. You can see it's got a slight slope. So I'm going to select that line, first of all making a construction line because I don't want it to be part of my sketch, other than just as a helpful construction element. Then click horizontal constraint. You can see now how it's snapped to the horizontal. I'm also now going to just select dimension and go between the bottom line and that line and make sure this is a minimum, and I do mean a minimum, of about 7 millimeters. Okay. Now I like making things really even, so I'm going to select the line again and do this top line here and make this equal the same as the 7. So while it's highlighted like so, I'm just going to click it and it automatically uses a function to match. If I change this now, say to 6.5, you'll notice that that changed to 6.5 as well. I also want to actually move this point to this point on my axes, on my axle hole, so that it's perfectly at the end. I'm going to do that with a coincidence tool here, and I'm going to just constrain the center point of the arc to the center point of the sketch. Now it's telling me it'll over constrain. If you get that fault, you can come and get me and I'll try and fix it for you. At the moment I'm just trying to check what that might be to mean that I've done that. It should allow me to do so though, so I'm not entirely sure why it didn't want me to go and do that. We can just fix it reasonably close. It really doesn't want to do it. No, it doesn't at all. How odd. Okay, I'll just create a dimension like so. Can make that 150 plus 45 because then that'll be the same. Cool. Alright, that's my nice cute little car. I might just increase the distance here to about maybe 175. Oops. Because that might make my car a little bit more streamlined. That means I need to increase this to 175 as well. So they match. Perfect. I'm going to finish my sketch now. And you'll notice that the sketch is applied, and I'm holding shift and using the center mouse button just on the side of my vehicle. Now all I'm going to do here is select the extrude tool. Selecting this profile, if it doesn't automatically, you may need to click it. I'm going to select rather than the cut profile, which cuts out that shape, and I'm going to go through all here. There you go, all. I'm going to use the intersect, which means you only keep what you've got in between. You can see how my blank disappears to create this profile. Perfect. Click OK, and you can see here my profile. Now, if I go underneath the extrusion here and right-click on my sketch and go Share Sketch, I can also select the whole tool, like so, and it will automatically go placement from sketch. It should do. If it doesn't, come find me. I'm going to go through all and select a diameter of 6 millimeters for my axle holes. Clicking apply and closing, and you can see now I've also got my axle holes in there. Now I'm going to minimize this sketch by going right click visibility so you can't see it, and now you can see really easily so far my cut profile, which is what I might get after I had, say, drilled the 2 axle holes and then cut it out on a bandsaw. Okay, that'll do for now. I'd save this as design 1, say, by going File, Save. I'm going to go CO2 Design 1. Make sure when you do that, sorry, you don't go Save, you go Save As. Must be Save As, because otherwise you save it as the blank. Thanks for listening.